welcome to Synthaholics. This is your host, David Duncan, and with me is the Brian Bannister.
Yeah, it's me. Hey, this is my new voice. I'm gonna make sure nobody listens to this podcast.
Oh man, we're going to take our numbers lower than the Flash's numbers. That's amazing.
We're bringing up downtown,
Downtown.
down to Central City. That's where the Flash is from.
Down to Central City where the grass is green and the babies are in the sky
Pretty?
until they're
Oh.
not.
What?
Because they fall out of buildings.
We just make stuff up here. Babies don't fall out of buildings.
And they do-
Gravity makes them fall out of buildings.
They do in the Flash.
Do you kill yourself if you jump off a building, or does gravity kill you? Is it considered suicide if the gravity kills you and it's not you killing you?
Gravity-assisted death. Well,
do guns kill people or do people kill people? But if you suicide, man, we can't talk about this. Never mind. We're gonna We're saying I don't think you can say that on YouTube. I'm not sure if that word's allowed.
You probably
actually
shouldn't say those things, but
okay. My bad.
Gravity assisted death is your fault if you are the one who chose to step off and let the gravity take over. If someone pushes you and gravity takes over, that is murder.
Well, I mean, if gravity has anything to say about it, they might say it's them.
But if it happens on the moon, would it hurt?
I don't know. Would it?
Moon is very low gravity.
That is true. Can you? It's not low enough where you can just like jump up out of its like little atmosphere thing it's got going on.
No, you've seen the moon, the men on the moon. They did the.
Well, we don't know. We don't know if that's true. They didn't actually go to the moon. It's all fake.
Oh yeah, I forgot Mr. Hollow Earther over there. Hollow Earther, moon denier.
Let me. It's first of all, the Earth isn't flat. It's definitely hollow though. There ain't nothing in there except Godzilla. Oh no, King Kong. That's where King Kong's from. Or wait, I guess.
I think they live there in harmony whenever they're not destroying the stuff on top of the Earth.
That's an actual fact movie. I don't know. That's why once I saw that, it opened my eyes.
Yeah, it's like the Super Smash Brothers commercial for the original Super Smash Brothers. It's all kumbaya. They're just, they're holding hands.
Yeah, they all love each other
through the Hollow Earth, and then
the Hollow Earth.
Yeah, the Hollow Earth, and then they come out, and then that's when they do their Super Smash Bros.
We need to join. We need to join like a society for Hollow Earth.
I don't have that need.
Why? You don't want to like have a conversation with these people? And then they'll tell you that there's a hole in the ocean where Godzilla lives.
Antarctica.
There's a hole in Antarctica? I thought it's all ice or stuff.
I thought they went to. I don't know. Anyway, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the topic, we're discussing Oppenheimer this week. This is our last podcast, so I still am a resident of New York.
Yes. Is the last one.
Soon I will be a resident of Virginia, and
I mean, nothing should change for the podcast, though.
I mean, maybe you won't be able to tell a difference.
Nobody listening or watching. Yeah, maybe your background will change depending on how Discord acts. But nothing should change for anybody except maybe we might not podcast at our normal time for the next couple of weeks. I don't know.
Who knows?
That remains to be seen.
It does. It actually does remain. So Brian, what did you have for news this week?
Well, first we gotta talk about your favorite piece of IP ever. That's not Star Trek. That's Wheel of Time. You got a Wheel of Time trailer, man.
It's my favorite book IP. Oh, okay. So I've got zero excitement for this new season of Wheel of Time, but there was a couple things in the trailer that made me a little bit happy instead of just extremely sad. It looks like the weaves of magic aren't just all white now. They're different colors, hopefully corresponding to the type of weave they're using. There are still white ones, so I'm not sure if it's final CGI or not, or if they were just doing something different. But I really hope it's the actual different weaves, because that's how it's described in the book. Although, they're still using the pacifiers instead of the actual collars around the neck of the Suldam and the Damni, so that'll be just awful to watch.
So is just changing the color going to be like this is a 10 out of 10 show? If
Oh
that's
no,
what you're
no,
looking
no!
for.
It's like
You're looking for the color.
it's like bare minimum of paying attention to the book for all the other things that they changed. It's
Okay.
like I'm acknowledging that they've maybe, I don't know yet because the colors was still white in some of the, so maybe that's spirit. I don't know, but usually in the book they're not just using one or the other. It's described as weaves, and they even described it as weaves in the show. So it's multiple different colors weaving together to make fire or ice wall or whatever they're gonna do in the show. So like they're starting to do the bare minimum as far as representation, the description of Robert Jordan, but then again they've completely ignored so many others, like the Sedai ring, uh, the way the Soldam and the Demni work. It's a collar and a wrist thing, not a pacifier.
Wow, the passion. It's overflowing in you.
I mean, like
Now, can I interest you? Can I interest you in the animated show that's also coming out? Have
oh,
you looked into this at all?
I did not. I mean, there were some short little
Okay.
animated clips for season 1 that were underwhelming.
So I just you don't. So I don't think you know this, but I looked into it a little bit.
You mentioned it, and you said there was a price, and I was like,
there's a price to pay.
I just didn't even follow up because it's the Wheel of Time show on Amazon. Amazon can't make any good TV anymore.
Wheel of Time is coming out with an animated show. Sometimes animated shows are pretty good. We've reviewed them in the past. This one could also be good. However, the writer for the show is basing the show off the 2 graphic novels that they made, and it's in his own original story.
Yeah, nope. I mean, Wheel of Time season 1 might as well have been its own original story for how little it actually followed Eye of the World.
Well, there you go. It's not following the books. They said it's not following the books. It's following the 2 graphic novels, and based on those 2 graphic novels, it's going to make its own original story. So there you go.
I played the Wheel of Time video game back in the day. It was a first-person shooter.
Cool.
It was, I think, an Unreal Engine. Yeah, it was something.
Well, maybe they'll make a new game and then you can play it.
Oh,
and love your Wheel of Time even more.
I don't want to support anything. I mean, I want to watch season 2 to see if they can recover, because one season often isn't a fair judgment of a show. But
I mean, I think it is. It was pretty bad.
Well,
so you're telling me you're excited for the next
I'm
Lord
not
of the Rings
excited. No, I'm not excited. I'm hope.
Gotcha.
Wheel of Time, I think, could be course corrected at this point. But Rings of Power is so far gone. There's no way you can course correct to make Rings of Power season 2 or 3 or 4 make any sense, because they've broken the lore so much.
Do we know if they're making more of that? I feel like we haven't heard anything.
They are supposedly.
They have to. They spent like $1 billion like trying to make it.
Supposedly contractually obligated for 5 seasons.
We're gonna get 5 seasons of that, huh?
I don't know how that works when no one watched your show, because I think it had like a 66% fall off rate. Only 33% of the people who started watching the show supposedly finished it, based on like the little bit of viewership information that's been circulating online. Granted, that's all hearsay that I've heard from other content creators online. Don't know how true it is. But
we'll we'll wait.
That's pretty low viewership retention, and I'm not surprised. That show was hard to get through.
It did get bad. I'm excited for the next season, though. I can't wait.
Oh, really? Oh.
No, I'm good. I don't actually really want to watch it, but I feel like we will watch it.
Oh,
podcast
on it. We probably gotta watch it. The podcast on that's.
If we weren't going to podcast on it, I don't think I'd watch it.
I'd have zero interest in watching season 2. Unless like everyone online says it's markedly better. But I do want to give Wheel of Time season 2 a chance. I will watch Rings of Power season 2, but the lore has been trampled into dust at this point. There's no way you can course correct it to make it okay.
Workable.
Wheel of Time, there's still time. because
Yeah,
you're
the
not
wheel is still spinning.
because Wheel of Time, you're only dealing with like less than a decade of time, maybe.
Yeah.
From like this perspective of the kids in Two Rivers to like the end of the series, that's like it's probably less than 10 years. I don't know the exact. It's a very short amount of time. Whereas Rings of Power, they've already condensed and messed up the timeline so much. There's no way to salvage it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Because
yeah.
they've condensed basically multi thousands of years into the space of a weekend in Rings of Power.
We'll just have to, we'll get there and we'll complain about it when it comes out because it's not out yet. We don't know what's gonna happen.
Don't know what's gonna happen.
Another thing I wanted to bring up was the Gen 5, Gen V.
Generation V.
Yeah, man. So
Brian's
we
most
we were talking
anticipated
about this
show.
when The Boys was airing and we were talking about it. We were like, "Ooh, they need to hurry up and start killing this show so it's not kill it, but like get it to make the story end.
They
No
need
more
to
of this stuff."
they need to
They're
end
doing
The
this.
Boys gracefully.
Yes, make it graceful. They're not doing that, man. They're making a spin-off show and it looks really bad.
Yeah, the cartoon spin-off show they did for The Boys was also not very good. I don't even think I finished watching it. Since we work on a podcast on it, I gave up pretty quick. It wasn't very good.
Yeah, well, this show, it seems like it follows somebody that goes to school, and the CG in the trailer is bad. I just didn't care about anything that they were showing. They need to just kill Homelander, however the heck they're gonna kill Homelander, and make the show end. They're gonna kill Homelander in the last 5 minutes of whatever the last season is, and then the show will end. There
Yeah,
is no happy ending because they all kind of. There should be no happy ending because all the characters in the show kind of suck.
yeah.
Like none of them are good people.
Everyone's a terrible person,
Yeah, except Starlight. She seems like
except for
she's still
Starlight. She's the only lawful good character in the entire thing, and she's starting to lean toward chaotic good, I guess, just because she's trying to fight back against Vought.
yeah. Well, at
But
the end of the day, the Vaught's probably gonna win, and everybody's gonna die.
yeah, I mean it's not setting up for a happy ending at all. So I mean it's fine. It's just the show. Season 1 and 2 are great. Season 3, all it did was spin wheels. It didn't really
Still
add.
good. It still wasn't bad. It wasn't bad though.
Oh yeah, I mean it was entertaining, but also it had the definite feeling of like, oh, they're just gonna draw this out as long as possible. Like,
Because we have
but
viewers.
Butcher's got a ticking time, but they're gonna find a way to nullify that so they can drag the show on as long as possible.
Make it 12 seasons.
Maybe
Oh
I
man.
don't know. It's just some things need to end. That way you can appreciate them.
Yeah, well, that's not how Amazon does stuff. Everything just becomes bad. Anyway, yeah,
Everything is games deserves. It lasts forever, and then no one
yeah,
cares.
it's a live service TV show.
You're getting the Generation V DLC. I mean, the Gen V DLC that nobody wanted or
Yeah.
asked for.
So, David, meat and potatoes time?
Meat and potatoes
Meat and potatoes?
time. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we watched Oppenheimer. It was 3 hours. David, what would you rate the 3 hour epic that is Oppenheimer? Is this Christopher Nolan's magnum opus, or is it opus? I don't know. Is it minimum opus?
Or magnum opus. I'd have to say magnum opus. I'd probably give this movie like a 10, 9 or 10. Like this is the best movie I've seen probably since Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 1.
Oh.
And the only thing that's coming out this year that might dethrone Oppenheimer is maybe Dune Part 2, but I don't know if Dune Part 2 is actually coming out this year. I see rumblings online it may be pushed back till 2024 because of the yield writers and actors strike.
Isn't it done though? How could it get pushed back? The show was like written and filmed already.
Avatars have been pushed back, and they've also been filmed and, and scripted and shot already.
Yeah, but
I
that
don't
wasn't
know.
because of a writer's strike.
Yeah,
That was just because James Cameron is, James Cameron.
I mean, the news came after the writer's strike.
What? That Avatar's getting pushed back?
Yep, it's direct correlation. I mean, it may not be, but it seems like direct correlation.
Maybe they're not done writing them. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, they're trying.
I don't know all the intricacies of it.
I think a lot of the reasons why they're pushing these things back is because of the strikes, so they can pad out future releases. Because while the strike's happening, nothing's getting
Nothing's
made.
happening.
Nothing's getting made, so they're shifting schedules for movies around so that they can have a constant stream of income and not have it all concentrated in the small parts of the year. So I think they're going to spread stuff out. So stuff may be getting pushed back. I hope not. I really want to see Dune Part 2. I finished Dune Messiah, and I'm like partway through Children of Dune. I am like preparing myself.
You're deep in the Dune.
For more
You're
Dune.
deep in the spice.
Deep in the spice. Neck deep in the spice. And Brian's been consuming his little makers too.
Huh?
The little sandworms. The sandworms are called makers. So you got little makers you're eating.
I do. I have had quite a bit of them.
or gach.
Like 5 pounds in the past 2 days.
For our Klingon friends, the gach.
Yes,
gach worms.
very,
Anyway,
very tasty.
What is your take on Oppenheimer?
I'm also. It is a magnum opus as well. I'm gonna also give it a 10. It's like I mean, it's not like it's a 10 because it's just like an incredible movie, but like it's not like my favorite movie that's ever been made, you know? Because like I'm not gonna a historical fiction or whatever is not gonna be like something that is my favorite movie. But yeah, it's definitely a 10.
Oh, I mean, it's just a masterpiece. I mean, like, yeah, it's not going to be my favorite movie of all time, but considering the years we've had lately of movie releases just generally not being good, Oppenheimer is a bright spot of light on this like field of poop.
I'm in the smoke. I'm in the smoke right now.
Yeah, it is a fantastic, well-made film that has zero action in it. This is a historical biopic about the man Robert Oppenheimer, and it is extremely well done. I've watched a lot of videos on Oppenheimer and his life since then. As far as
are you an Oppenheimer, like, you know him? It feels like you know him personally now then, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, you know, we're almost best friends. Except he died of throat cancer because he smoked once or twice.
Only twice. After 2 times, that was it.
Yeah, he had to put it down. No, it wasn't the radiation that got him, it was the smoking that got him. I was just trying to dig into it because I mean I like historical movies. Braveheart's really good. Braveheart is also very not historically accurate. So
yeah, I was about to say.
So it's nice when movies get closer to the historically accurate. Granted, this is a movie. It is not perfect. It is not. You can't capture the man's entire life in 3 hours. What they do hit on, it's accurate enough, and of course, there's omissions because again, 3 hours. Going to go watch a movie, and this is his life. You can't fit every single thing, especially when you're trying to tell a movie in the way this movie is told, which is non-linearly, like good old Memento.
That's just all over the place.
Yeah, like well, Memento's interesting because it's got the color segments and the black and white segments, and one's going backwards, the other one's going forwards in time, and they kind of overlap in the middle where they're like actually on top of each other, and then they keep going the opposite directions. And then he also used black and white as a very interesting way in this film. Did you notice that?
In an interesting way. How so?
Well, black and white is usually from someone else's perspective.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Like, you know, it wasn't that it was black, because sometimes people use black and white for the past.
Yeah, black and white for the past is used.
Although in
in this movie it wasn't like that.
In the latest season of Better Call Saul, it was black and white for the future, and then the past was colored.
Yeah, it's the same for this movie too.
No, this movie it's if it's from someone else's perspective, it's black and white.
Yeah, but it's also from they also have parts where it's from the future. Well, I guess.
Well, no, yeah, but there are future parts in the color too. It doesn't matter with the
Yeah,
timing.
yeah,
The
it
black and
nullifies
white is
that. Yeah, yeah.
independent on the color. The black and white is the black and white is independent on the time. It's dependent on the point of view. When it's color, it's from Oppenheimer's point of view. Whenever they show black and white footage, it's from someone else's, or Oppenheimer's just not even there. Like a lot of the court scenes outside of like
Yeah,
the
when
Robert
they
Downey
keep
Jr.
cutting to
scenes.
Robert Downey Jr. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever he's in his meeting, that's all in black and white because Oppenheimer is not even there, so it's someone else's perspective, which I thought was a really cool use of black and white that I have not. It may have been used in other movies, but this is the first time I've seen that way of visual
I don't
storytelling.
think I feel I'm sure it has, but like nothing that's this
Nothing comes to
popular.
mind because I mean they show that scene where Robert Downey Jr. gets slammed by Oppenheimer, and they show it like 3 different times, and it's from multiple different people's point of view. And like the
Yeah.
first time you see it, it's from Robert Downey Jr.'s character's point of view, and he's all smiling and he thinks it's funny because he's telling the story about it and he's pretending not to be mad. But every
Yes.
other time you see it, he's angry, which is like very well.
There's so many. It's like a web. It's like a open world RPG. You're just running around, just watching things happen.
Yeah, it's
You're not. You don't get to. It's like a choose your own adventure, except because it's just all. It's just like the movie's just random. It's not like okay, this scene we're going to scene A, then we're going to scene B, then we're going to scene C. This movie, it's like we're gonna go to A, then we're gonna go to F. We're gonna roll back to C, and
yeah. I
it's
mean,
just all over the
it's
place.
like it's the movie starts basically in his deposition where he's losing his they've basically schemed a way to get him to lose his security clearance because they think he's a commie spy because he dares to have any kind of like political leanings other than Democrat and Republican. So he's just like he's the worst person. He might be giving away her secrets even though like he never officially joined the party. And in the historically what I've dug up, like it's still like it's unclear if he actually joined the party or not. So the movie just aired on the side where he didn't, and it's not like super confirmed. I mean, he associated with people who are from the Communist Party, but
I don't think he. I only watched the movie, but it sounds like to me like political ties. He didn't see. He didn't care about political stuff. He kind of just was like, if this person was a communist, but knew about like whatever he was working on, he's like, I'm gonna work with this person. He didn't care like what their political leanings were. At least that's how I felt.
yeah. He didn't seem like he just wanted to get the job done. He liked people. I mean, like he
Well, it
was.
wasn't he didn't want to get the job done. He also was doing it for himself. He was like, and he liked researching this stuff. It's not like he was doing it as he was doing it as a job, but it's not like he was, somebody's holding him at gunpoint to do it. He's like, I want to do this.
Oh yeah, but also like he liked the fame and he liked the recognition
Yes.
of that. Which, I mean, don't blame him. I mean, like when you get popular, that's definitely a good feeling. But it also sucks that the U.S. government does some evil stuff and like just basically ruined the later half of his life. Basically, he basically saved the war, and then
Well, he also created a problem for everybody since he created that bomb because it's still a problem to this day. We still could kill her. He still is this destroyer. That's such a like intense quote where he's like, I have become the like bringer of
I
death,
am become
destroyer of
death, destroyer of
worlds.
worlds. Well, I thought that was like also just like such an interesting because the opening scene of fire and they've got like they also have like a quote from like Greek mythology where like the Titan was like tortured forever because he gave the humans fire. Like just being
Yeah.
able to cook your food like was like some like awful like torturous thing because like you shouldn't give humans that kind of power. Just so much more than a nuclear bomb is like for power versus just fire. Like
Yeah.
it's
Well, there was another thing where
bonkers.
like people were arguing that how could because he was like religious and they were saying how could God like create something like this and do that. And it was something where why should he create this if God didn't will it? And then Oppenheimer was like, well, then he shouldn't have created atoms in the first place to make that happen. Or some it was there's some insightful thing that he said about that too. I can't think of it when it comes to mind.
Yeah.
But he was just he had some dope quotes and he seemed like he was a smart guy.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
he was a smart guy. He proposed the idea of black holes. So this movie's technically a prequel to Interstellar, if you think about it.
I mean,
so
technically,
Christopher
in the
Nolan
Christopher
really
Nolan extended universe, it is a prequel.
it is a prequel to Interstellar, because that was really cool. Because Interstellar, a Christopher Nolan movie that actually used CG, but they actually got like the model, like they invented and figured out the right model for how an actual black hole would look based on like
Yeah,
Oppenheimer's theories,
that's
and it just, and that was incredible. And then when they actually filmed, like they took a picture of a real black hole, I mean, granted it's like super far away, you can't really see it, but it's close. I mean,
it's close, but
it's
really
close.
far away. It's close, but really far away.
No. It's.
I know what you mean.
It's
Like
not close.
the picture, the way the black hole they designed it, it's close to what it would be in real life.
Yeah, I mean, like it's the mathematical model that they built it on. Like they built the CG on the math, so it like it's as close as you could get to how it would look. So I thought that was really interesting. That like, oh, Christopher Nolan must really like Oppenheimer. I mean, even before the movie, he must have really liked Oppenheimer, because I mean, Interstellar is, you know, a movie about black holes.
Yeah, that is true.
Or a black hole, I guess.
It is about a black hole. Now, there was I'm curious to, so before I went in to go see this movie, I was thinking, because we all knew a bomb was going to go off in the movie. We knew that was going to happen. But I was wondering how he was going to show that bomb, because we know he historically doesn't use CGI. Like in Tenet, when he crashed that plane, like all that was like real. He was like, it was cheaper to just buy a plane and crash it into a building than to CGI it. So I want to know how the heck he did the bomb. Do you think he set off a big bomb, or what do you think he did?
I read he smashed ping pong balls together.
What?
He smashed ping pong balls together.
What do you and that what? What do you mean he smashed them together?
That's I read it. I read something about how they did the bomb explosion, and part of it was they smashed. I think the ping pong ball is the big circle. You see the thing smash on the ground. I think you probably used a macro lens on that, and they did a lot of like
Small stuff?
yeah. I think they did. I think they shot that part with a macro lens, because it looks so huge, like that, like because the way the atom bomb explodes in the movie is we don't really see it, like we just see like the flash from other people's perspective, and then we see the mushroom cloud, like the actual like big explosion. That part is the thing we see in the opening of the film, and I think that opening part of like the big sphere that's like it looks like it's getting bigger.
Yeah.
I think that's the ping pong ball. Because I read
Interesting.
after the movie that they used ping pong balls, and because they did a lot of practical effects and they did it like kind of small scale.
So they didn't do anything like super large.
Well, no, like I mean, I'm sure Christopher Nolan would have loved to actually set off an actual nuclear bomb.
Do you think he tried?
I'm sure he tried. I mean, like I'm not. I mean, like maybe he didn't.
Can you imagine being a filmmaker and be like, all right, we need to get a nuke.
Can I get can I get a really low kiloton yield nuclear bomb so I can film this for my movie? So I can get like we need. Hey, this will be the first time we get IMAX cameras on a nuke. I mean, come on.
That is true. That also bothered me too, when there was so much promotional material being like, yeah, this is a movie you got to see in IMAX. I looked, there's literally like 16 theaters in the United States that can like show this movie the way that Christopher Nolan and all these promotional materials want you to see it. We can't see it here unless we went to New York City. That's the closest one for us.
Yeah, well, I tried to see it in RPX and I was unable to. The RPX projector at the theater I went to was broken the day I went to go see it. But thankfully, they put it into another movie theater. But it was also one of the smallest screens with the fewest number of rows. And
well, I mean, we talked about a little bit about that. I don't think this movie doesn't need to be experienced on a giant screen. I don't think. There's no action. There's nothing. It's just
there is no act. It's literally just people talking and
it's just close-ups of people's faces.
I mean, the most visually impressive part of the movie is the opening.
Yeah.
Honestly, just the the nuclear bomb, because that's the only time you really see the nuclear bomb like really going off. You only see the aftermath of it in the uh during the Trinity test, and then you hear it delayed. And I thought that was really cool how they showed other bomb tests in the movie, where like
Mm-hmm.
they did it how actual sound works, like however long it took them to travel. So that sound of the thing exploding was probably how long it took for it to hit the camera or like the boom mic or whatever. Because I'm sure they set up real explosions.
Oh yeah.
They had the boom mic going,
Oh,
and
what's
then
gonna hit?
yeah, they're waiting for the thing, and they go, because you see it blow up, and it goes boom, like, and then they did the same thing with the nuke. I actually, it took them so long to play the sound for the nuke. I thought they weren't gonna play it like at all.
It went towards the middle of the movie
The
when
Trinity test.
yeah, when they were doing that, I thought it was gonna be it started taking so long. I was like, oh, so this is the style choice we're picking. This is gonna be silent.
It's gonna be silent.
And then out of nowhere, it's just like.
Well, I mean, I figured it was going to be delayed, but it was taking so long to happen.
It was like 30 seconds.
It was taking so long to happen. I was like, what?
Are they going
to play any sound at all?
How are they going to make the noise? And it was loud for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe in your tiny theater, they only had like a boombox.
They had John Cusack. They had John Cusack holding up a boombox in the front of the. Yeah, they brought him out.
That was your theater?
Yeah, my theater. They just paid a John Cusack lookalike to come hold a boombox for 3 hours.
He was standing next to like TV they bought from Best Buy.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Soundbar is him holding the boombox.
That was pretty much my viewing experience. So like, go see Oppenheimer in the movie theater. This movie needs to make money, or it sucks that we're kind of downplaying it, that you don't need to see this in the movie theater. But I mean, I think you should, because movies like this should be supported, because it is just a beautiful piece of film. It's well acted. There's so many big actors in this. Like, I recognize, there's so many of the cast you just recognize. Oh, that's this guy. I
didn't know that guy. Well, I mean, when these trailers were coming out, and I would go to the movie theater, and you know how they show trailers before the movies.
Yeah.
That was the only, like, that's all I knew about this movie going in. I didn't want to research it at all. So, like, I'm, like, sitting there watching this movie, and it's like, oh, that guy's in it. Oh, this person's in it. Oh, that guy's in it.
Because Robert Downey Jr., I don't think he's in any of the trailers. I didn't realize
I didn't know he was in it.
I didn't know he was in it until, like, a week before I saw the movie, because I started seeing promotional stuff, or I just saw an article online that Robert Downey Jr. said, like, this is the best movie I've ever been in. I'm like, I didn't even know you were in this movie.
I mean, if he was in the trailers, because if you don't know, it's when you first see him in the movie, I was like, oh wait, he's in the movie, because sometimes he's not really recognizable with like the like hair stuff he has going on or whatever.
Yeah,
it doesn't really look like him in the movie. You got to be like, oh, that's Robert Downey Jr.
Papa from Stranger Things is in it too.
Yeah, this movie's got a lot of people in it for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite part of the movie? I have two. One of them. Everybody's favorite part should be the bomb.
The Trinity test. Yeah. Oh, the Trinity test was really good.
That whole sequence, that whole like 20 minutes. That 20 minutes, best part of the movie, I think.
Oh, it was really well done. Like, I mean,
you have a second one
though. Florence Pugh's scenes.
That's it right there.
No. I mean, like, I liked the beginning too. I thought the beginning was pretty good. Like, I liked
Albert Einstein.
Yeah,
we didn't even talk about him. Einstein's in the movie.
He's in the.
I didn't know. Like, man, this is gonna show how American I am, because I don't know anything about anybody. But I didn't even know like this dude was alive during that time. I thought Einstein was like 1800s.
No, Einstein fled, Germany from the Jews because of Hitler.
Yeah, no, I had no idea.
Oh, you didn't know that? I mean, granted, this is like during World, but I mean, like, part of the reason, like, there was growing anti-Semitism over there, and this movie was kind of like beyond Einstein's like prime. Yeah, because I mean, all this stuff is based on Einstein's work, so Einstein's already done most of his like big works at this point. I don't know, like, I mean, just the ending is also like one of my favorite parts. The movie's just really good.
All of it's just really
It's
good.
just really good. Like I like, but I mean, like the Trinity test is probably the most compelling part of the movie because that's like that's what the trailers were building up. So that's what I wanted to see. And
Well, everybody wants to see an explosion. Like, let's come on now.
well, yeah, but I mean, like just the way it came together and how it worked, and they just built Los Alamos just to do this. It's just it's
Yes.
all it just the history of it. It's all it's crazy. So well done. And
Well, it's also cool because a lot of times when they just do like, American history, it ends up just being about slavery or something like that, which, I get important topic, all that stuff. But it's like, does every movie about American history have to be about like how like people came and like got rid of like the native people here or about slavery? Like there's other stuff I guess that has gone on. Granted, we haven't been around as long as like England or something where they could tell, more stories than we ever could, but it's nice to see a little bit of a change of pace from, just Tarantino doing another like slavery movie or something.
The Django Unchained 3.
Yeah.
Still
Well, that's what it seems like it is. If they're like, oh, we're going to talk about American history, let's do slavery. That's what it always seems to be like. At least for me. Actually, no, it's not just for me. That's a true statement. I stand behind that 100%. All the popular movies are about that.
Yeah, this is just a really good, solid movie. Like, going into the movie, you were like, "Oh, I know what your complaint is going to be," and I'm like, the only thing I can think of is that the movie theater played 2 Jason Statham trailers back to back.
Hey, one of them doesn't look bad.
What, Meg 2?
I don't know. Whatever the one where he's on like a jet ski and he's fighting.
Yeah, that's Meg 2. I was like,
oh, okay,
or is it Expendables? And only
what do they call those? The geezer the geezer teasers or something, where it's a bunch of like old people, old action stars.
Except they've got what's her face in it? Transformers girl.
I don't know much about Transform. Man, this is totally sidetracked, and we're gonna get back to Oppenheimer because there's still a part I want to talk about it. But I don't know if I told you. I told somebody, but I watched Transformers, the newest one. It took me 4 tries to finish the whole movie, man. It was you, because I was like, who cares about the humans? Stop talking about the humans. Like, okay, oh my gosh, this girl doesn't like this guy, or this guy doesn't like this girl. Just, like, bring out Bumblebee and have him, like, cut somebody's head off. Like, what? Man, just Transformers, it sucks.
Yeah,
anyway.
Just like they try to make it, but this movie is about just humans and all the stuff happening with humans, and it's interesting and it's well done and it's historical. I mean, granted, as we covered up at the top, it's not 100% perfectly historical because how can you do that in 3 hours?
Well, I mean, there's decades that they just like skip and stuff. I'm sure there's like 15. I'm sure there's some parts that take place this time period, and then there's another scene that takes place that's 15 years later, but in the movie it's like 5 minutes because, what are you gonna do?
But also the movie's just structured brilliantly because the movie isn't told linearly through a God's eye lens. The movie's told through his security clearance removal deposition. Like that's where most of the story of the movie is told from. So he's presenting his case and people are speaking, from their point of view about what's going on. And so also any historical inaccuracies could be also done because it's a point of view movie. Anytime, it's how they saw it. So that allows for more, nuance in the actual facts because people always have a different point of view on things. But I mean, still, as far as I can tell, the facts are close enough to how it really happened.
Yeah,
it's really well done. Like, Fermi having the lab underneath the footballs, the football stadium, like where they had the chain reaction going, proving that the chain reaction could be sustained for nuclear power. Like it's just like Fermi, he's the guy that came up with the like just like this time must have been so exciting to be a science nerd.
All the scientists, that's when they came up with stuff. Now they just what happened to all of them? What do they talk about nowadays?
I don't
What do
know.
they do?
I
They're not
don't.
creating new stuff, or is everything like so top secret we can't hear about it
I
anymore?
don't know, but it's just so crazy because you had Fermi, the guy that came up with the Fermi paradox. That's and he also got like I mean like he is almost just as much the father of the of nuclear as Oppenheimer because his experiment at that football stadium was setting up a chain reaction. And when
Yep.
Oppenheimer first heard that they split an atom, he didn't believe he could happen because the math didn't support it. That it could actually happen. That was also interesting, like the debate between practical and you know theoretical physics. Like putting the theory into practice and seeing what happens.
Sure. I wish I knew math well enough where I could just kind of like get onto a chalkboard and just start writing stuff and just figuring stuff out.
But that's also interesting. Like I thought that was interesting in the movie, like that. I had heard this other places that Einstein hated math, and they when Oppenheimer brought him the the calculations for like would the atmosphere catch on fire, they asked who did the math because
Yeah.
both Oppenheimer and apparently Einstein didn't like math, or it wasn't their strongest suit, so they were like they wanted someone better at math than them to
Figured out.
be crunching the numbers. And it's just, I mean, I mean, like, I don't know, for those scientists, that must have been like terrifying and just incredibly exciting because all these great minds, like Einstein, Oppenheimer, Fermi, like
They're there. The
Bohr,
trio.
Niels Bohr, like I just like it's just all these giant names in science, like all alive at the same time, knew each other, talked with each other, and then Werner Heisenberg. Although it was strange, Oppenheimer was wearing the Heisenberg hat from Breaking Bad.
He did. He was a big fan of that hat. He did wear it pretty
he
often.
wore the Heisenberg hat, so maybe Heisenberg in Breaking Bad should have been called Oppenheimer.
Maybe it's a cool name. Oppenheimer's just a cool name in the first place.
I mean, Heisenberg's not bad.
Heisenberg's not bad either.
I
Oppenheimer
mean,
might be a little cool. Now, the part I didn't think you were gonna like, or because it annoyed me too, is the sound. At this point, I think Christopher Nolan's just this. This is his choice. It's his choice to like put this music over people talking. That's what I
actually,
thought.
actually, I was pleasantly surprised with the sound on Oppenheimer. This was his most hearable dialogue in pretty much any movie he's done recently.
I mean, it was really
It
just
was
Tenant that he. It was really just Tenant and
no
what's the war one? Dunkirk.
Dunkirk
Yeah, those two.
and the Batman movies. Hi, my
Oh, I
name
didn't.
my name is Bane. Can you
Yeah,
hear
just
what
Bane was
I'm
hard to
Can you hear
understand.
what I'm understanding?
Nothing else was hard to understand. Just Bane.
But he's a bad guy. You kind of need to understand what the bad guy is saying.
Yeah,
I mean, you
but
need
other
to
than that,
like, but
other than that,
it was his philosophy that he was trying to take down the world. He's like waxing eloquently. You can't understand a goddamn thing he's saying. So
yeah.
it sucked. Like I mean, like his sound mixing is awful. I mean,
I don't think it's awful. I think it's his choice.
it's his
I think
choice.
he's deciding to do this.
Like
He's not making a mistake. He's obviously it's a choice to put like people's voices at like 40% and then the music at like 37. He's choosing those percentages.
But Oppenheimer was his least offensive film in recent history, as far as that goes. Yes, the sound is very loud.
Yeah,
But
recently, yes.
all movies. But I mean, I wasn't like struggling. I wasn't like, oh my god, I missed what they said. Like they and so many other of his movies. Like I didn't struggle at all.
Yeah, you
Like
understood this one.
I wasn't like, oh my god, I missed something important. Like I
That's where
did.
I thought you would complain if you had a complaint.
Yeah, I didn't.
'Cause I still wish like it was just crystal clear what people are saying, but I think that's just a Christopher Nolan thing. There's times where it's just kind of like you're
Well,
not gonna get
it's
everything.
just a movie thing. Movie just have like the weirdest sound mixing because I mean, like when you watch a movie at home, you're like constantly turning the volume up and turning it down because the action's crazy loud and the dialogue is like barely audible
Yeah,
compared. So it's just the way movies are mixed that it kind of sucks. Um, I mean,
it is
it's
what it is.
impressive in the movie theater because you've got nothing else going on. But when you're trying to enjoy a movie at home, it's really hard to enjoy a movie at home because you're constantly raising the volume and lowering
Changing
the
stuff.
volume, like constantly. I wish there was like a way to like have the sound like auto jump around. So like
They're working on an AI for that, I'm sure.
yeah,
Somebody's gonna have an AI.
you pick a volume and like the speech comes up to that volume, but the explosion never goes past it or whatever. That way you can like listen and not have to constantly change the volume when you're watching a film, not trying to
Yeah.
wake up a neighbor or roommate or whatever. It's just
It is what it is.
way films are shot. Like, so since you said I was gonna have a complaint about the movie, my one complaint I made up was there wasn't enough nudity. So I think we'll dock him like 6 points for not enough.
You needed more nudity. What do you want to see? Oppenheimer naked?
No, we saw him with his legs crossed. That was good enough.
What? I mean, it is, I don't know. Nudity doesn't do much.
I'm just joking. It's like a joke complaint.
Okay.
Because you're like, yeah, I know what you can complain about. I'm like,
that's what I thought. I thought for sure, man, you're gonna say something, but I guess not. It's perfect in every way. Now, my second favorite part of the movie was Emily Blunt's in the movie, and she has a scene where she's kind of like being interrogated or what, I don't know, what, on trial,
no,
but not on trial.
She's testifying for her husband.
Yeah, that scene, what she says in that scene, because she like owns the like attorney guy.
That guy down, so it was so good.
That's taken word for word from what she actually said. She actually just like came up with that and just said it during the testimony. That's word for word. And I thought that's dope because it's just, there was no, like, they didn't need, it was like the best like couple sentences in the whole movie because it felt like, oh damn, like she really got him. But it's like she did that in real life.
That's impressive. Dope. That's really impressive. He was such a like almost like a pacifist. He didn't like arguing or he liked intellectual debate, but like he didn't like stand up.
It's like this is all because him it doesn't matter. He's like that. What you think of me doesn't. I don't care because I'm just here to. I want to figure out this science stuff. I'm not here to like talk about. Should this be okay? Am I this? Am I that? He's like that's not important.
Yeah.
At least that's how I thought. Who knows?
Oh man.
But David, would you recommend Oppenheimer? Sounds like it's gonna be a yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Go watch Oppenheimer. Go see it in the theater. Get this movie. Let's get the numbers higher than Barbie, please, for the love of all that is good.
Is it making money? I don't even know.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers. I think they're both doing decently. But
I mean, Oppenheimer?
Barbie
and Barbie?
Yeah, they're both doing decently. Okay. I don't think they're absolutely bombing, but I mean, like, just in general, like we spoke about last time, just movies have been so bad lately. People are not as brave about going out to them anymore. Because I mean, like,
well, it's also too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, A, it's too expensive, and B, like, why risk spending money on a really bad time?
I mean, I would risk it, but the problem is, like, if you have stuff going on, like, if you have more than just like yourself going to a movie theater, you're paying $50 for like 2 people.
Yeah.
If you get like popcorn and stuff, I mean, like if you just go, or if you go to like IMAX or something, IMAX tickets here are like $20 a piece.
Yeah, they're expensive. I mean, the movie also just had like a lot of political stuff, and it just like it just makes me so mad at our country and like our leaders and whatnot. Like Truman was just such an awful person to Oppenheimer. I mean, granted, Truman is right. Truman did pull, but like Oppenheimer like put the team together that made the bomb. Like it was his science that killed all these people. Like,
well, I mean, that's just how government is, though. That's why I don't care about it at all.
I mean, you need to understand the injustices. Like that's why I look into
why. What am I gonna do about it though? I can't do anything about it. Me just knowing stuff about it is just gonna get me more frustrated.
Oh, that's the thing. Like this movie made me so much more frustrated because it's just like, oh man, they just treat this guy like crap, and like nothing's getting any better. They're just always treating people like crap.
It never will, man. It never will.
It's just sad. It's just sad. I felt really bad for him.
Well, that's Oppenheimer. He didn't have the perfect life, but he did create potentially the most dangerous tool that has ever been created.
Yeah, and it's just incredible. It's a well done movie, and like the ending is just haunting. Just because there's like the whole movie kind of like hinges on like what did Oppenheimer say to Einstein? Because Robert Downey Jr. is convinced that he was like slandering that guy's character,
Yeah.
and didn't have anything to do with him, and it's just kind of scary, and it's just kind of like, oh.
Well, the whole movie's kind of like haunting, where it's kind of like, you know, they get that like background like, ooh, and it feels like you're gonna have like an anxiety attack the whole time. So you're just sitting there, waiting like, is something gonna when's it gonna happen? But the whole movie is pretty much based on like, okay, we're working on creating a weapon that could potentially destroy the entire planet, and to a certain degree. I think when they first started off, he was worried that they were going to set the atmosphere on fire with like their single bomb. But I think ultimately they still did achieve that because now you can just make so many of them. You probably could just, you know, set the atmosphere on fire. So he did, you know, he not the way he intended, but he probably did do
Well,
what he
there
tried
was
to.
a mathematical chance that be an unstoppable chain reaction, because once it stops, like what's gonna stop the chain reactions? But the math came out to be that it was like near zero, and
Yeah, but he was
that's as
saying,
close as they could get it theoretically. But yeah,
yeah,
you're talking about metaphorically.
yeah, I mean, you are right about that. It's close to zero, and they were trying to avoid that. And he was worried that that zero might happen. But towards the end of the movie, it's the last like 5 words of the movie. It sounds like he's like, I did create this because now they dropped those 2 bombs in Japan. He's like, they could just make 500 of them and then just drop them everywhere, and that will, you know, essentially
Well,
do the
because
same
it
thing.
just cuts to that view of like almost like Terminator 3, where you just see all those like plumes of smoke going up the clouds that were like
Yeah,
that. You know,
yeah,
they were already launched nukes. That, like, you know, it's just it's. I think it's an important movie to see, like to see the destructive power of this thing, and just to understand that these things should never be used
hopefully,
ever, ever again. Hopefully, um,
hopefully,
it's just it's
yeah.
incredible. Go see this movie.
Oppenheimer,
Go see this
go
movie.
see it. That's all, folks.
What about your line?
Well, I mean, I thought you gotta like start closing us down before I got any line to say.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for
Email David at $2. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you like this one. Did you guys see Oppenheimer? What did you guys think? Was it good? Was it boring? Was it one of the best movies you've seen in a while? Let us
Were you
know.
sad because there was no war scene and you didn't get to see anybody die?
No, I was not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, them. Yeah, yeah. Were you sad about that?
Wait, you can answer that
Were
too.
were you sad about not seeing the Okinawa and Hiroshima explosions? No,
I don't know.
I liked that the movie was centered on
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. It's an
Yeah,
Oppenheimer biopic. It's not the atom bomb biopic.
exactly.
So it was good. It all centered on him and referred to him in one way or the other. Even if he wasn't in a scene, it was still about Oppenheimer. So it was really well
Yep.
done. So go see it.
Good job.
Go watch this
Please.
movie. Hopefully we'll get Interstellar 2 next.
I don't think that's not how
Oppenheimer
Christopher
comes
Nolan does
back and Interstellar 2.
That's not what's gonna happen. We don't even know if Christopher Nolan I'm sure he will, but like I wonder what his next movie will
Nah,
be.
he's done. He's quit. He's peaked. He's not gonna risk making another movie.
He's definitely gonna make another movie. He's not old enough to just like stop. I'm sure there's other stuff he wants to do.
Well, he's not.
Tarantino, isn't Tarantino working on his last movie though?
I
Didn't he
think
say
so. I
like
think he's got one
this is
more.
his last movie?
Yeah, I think
He's also a bit older though, isn't he? Isn't he like 70
he looks
or
older than
something?
Christopher Nolan for sure.
I think Chris, I don't know how, I'm not even gonna guess. I don't know. I think Tarantino's like almost, if not in 70s, almost in 70s. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I have no
I
idea how
don't.
old Christopher Nolan is. What is he like, 50 something
I do
maybe?
not know their ages. I mean, yeah. I mean, just looking at a picture of Christopher Nolan, I'd say he's in his 50s. I mean, maybe not. Who knows? I mean,
Don't quote us on any of this. We don't know. We don't. I mean, for all we know, Christopher Nolan could be 25.
he's 15.
I mean,
He's been a professional director since the womb.
yep. He was in the womb making. We saw it when we saw The Dark Knight. He was actually in the womb.
He's pulling his mom's strings.
He's pulling the strings.
Inside his mom directed the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, go see Oppenheimer. It's good. We need more movies that are like this, but maybe not exactly like this, but more movies that are like this quality.
Oh yeah, I mean there's it's just telling an historical thing. It's not pushing any agenda other than it's just trying to tell as close to historically accurate as a movie can, without being boring. Because I mean, that's the problem when you're dealing with history. You gotta still keep it interesting. So there is, licenses you need to take to keep the movie going and interesting. Some people think the movie's too long. I think the movie's perfect. Like
I mean, it is, but
I,
it is long.
I.
It's not. Don't say it's not a long movie. It's a long
Oh, I
movie.
didn't say it's not a long movie. I'm just saying,
Oh.
but I don't think it's worth cutting anything from the movie, though. I think the
No,
movie
no,
is
no,
is.
no, no. You're right. You're right. But it is a long movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I mean, it doesn't feel as long as Venom did.
Nope, that's true. It sure
Venom,
didn't. Sure
Venom is
didn't.
the 90-minute movie that felt like it was 6 hours long. And this movie
Man.
was 3 hours, and I mean, maybe it felt like 3 hours, but I mean, it was an enjoyable 3 hours, and I would definitely watch it again. Like I'll probably like
So,
buy it on digital or buy it on
yeah.
whatever when it comes out, just like to support the movie more because it's a good movie, and
Yeah.
it should receive all the support it can,
Yes.
because
Yes.
we don't get movies like this very often anymore. So
That's true.
we need more
All
like
right.
it. So support it, please. Otherwise, these kind of movies will go die by the wayside. I want
True.
good movies.
Please.
Please.
Please
Yes.
make more movie.
All right. Yes. Christopher Nolan, looking forward to your next one. Hopefully, it'll be more like this and less like Tenet.
The Tenet was good too. I like Tenet.
I didn't care for Tenet.
That's fine. You don't have to like it. Make Tenet 2.
No.
Oh man. All right.
All right. Until next time, guys. Which, like we said earlier, it may be a little bit longer because this is my last
It
show.
probably will. Let's be real. It's probably going to be a little longer next time.
Yeah. So we'll see you when we see you, but we'll be back later this year, later this summer on
I mean,
Synthaholics. We'll be doing something.
probably in August.
Hopefully, Dune sometime this year. But if it's pushed back,
What?
it'll be
I hope
pushed.
so. What, we're doing like a podcast for 5 months?
Oh no, yeah, yeah, no. No, it'll be sooner than that. Sure.
Yeah.
Till next time, guys. We're out. Don't go splitting atoms.
I'm gonna move so fast. I'm gonna split atoms.
Look into the Flash.
Yeah, we split all the atoms.
See you guys.